My mother-in-law suddenly told me I couldn't go on the family trip. She said that daughters-in-law aren't part of the family, that I should just stay home. I pointed out that my husband Rick and I had been married for almost a year. This family takes that annual trip every summer, to a cabin they rent upstate. Nothing fancy, but they treat it like sacred family time. This year I was genuinely excited. I had requested the full week off from work, bought new hiking boots, and even researched trails near the cabin. I thought maybe this trip would help me connect with them, especially with my mother-in-law, who has always treated me like I was temporary. Then 3 hours before we were supposed to leave, she drops the bomb. I was packing snacks into a cooler when she walked into our kitchen. "Sally, are you actually planning on coming with us?" I laughed. Of course, I took the whole week off. Well, she glanced at Rick, who suddenly became super interested in his phone. "It's just that this trip is really for blood relatives, for the real family members." My stomach dropped. "I'm sorry. What?" "Daughters-in-law aren't really part of the family until they have children. It's just how we do things, you understand." I looked at Rick. He wouldn't meet my eyes. "Rick, Mom's paying for the cabin rental," he mumbled. "So it's kind of her call." That's when something inside me just snapped. Not in anger, but in clarity. "You know what? You're absolutely right," I said sweetly. "I'll stay home. You all have a wonderful trip." My mother-in-law actually looked surprised. I think she expected a fight. "Well, good. We'll see you next week then." I smiled and helped them finish loading the car. I waved at them from the porch as they drove away. My mother-in-law's smug little wave almost made me laugh. The second their car turned the corner, I grabbed my phone. "Lisa, remember how you said you wanted to do a girls' trip? How fast can you pack?" 2 hours later, we were booking flights to Maui. My husband's family was going to a rustic cabin with spotty cell service. I was going to a beachfront resort. It cost me about $4,800 for the week. It was worth every penny. The first day was glorious. Sun on the beach, margaritas in hand. Zero comments from my mother-in-law about how I fold towels. On the second day, my phone started blowing up. I was literally in the middle of a massage when I saw 67 missed calls from my mother-in-law. I called back. "Hello? Where are you?" My mother-in-law shrieked. I adjusted the towel on my back. The masseuse had discreetly stepped out when he saw the calls coming in one after another. I looked at the ocean from the blue spa window. Perfect, absolute tranquility. "I'm busy," I replied. "I'm asking you a question. Where the hell are you?" "In Maui." Silence. A silence so long I checked the screen to see if the call was still connected. "What?" "Maui, Hawaii. The island in the Pacific." "What do you mean, Maui? You were supposed to stay home." I sat up straight. The anger from 3 hours ago returned, but this time it was cold and controlled. "You said daughters-in-law aren't family. So I decided to take my own family vacation with my friend Lisa. She considers me family. This is ridiculous." Rick, your wife is in Hawaii spending your money." I heard Rick in the background. "What? Let me talk to her." "Sally," Rick's voice was tense. "Is it true?" "Yes." "With what money did you pay for that?" "With my money. From my savings account. The one I had before I married you." Another pause. Rick knew I had that account. I had never touched that money. "Sally, this is immature. Mom just wanted some quality time with the family." "I am your family, Rick. Or I'm supposed to be. We signed papers that say I am." You know what she meant. I know exactly what she meant. That I'm not good enough, that I don't count until I give her grandchildren. It's very clear. My mother-in-law grabbed the phone again. "We need you to come back right now." "Why?" "Because I said so." "That's not a reason. I have 6 more days of paid vacation. I'm going to use them." Rick left important work documents at the house. "He needs you to overnight them to him." There it was. The real reason for the 67 calls. "No." "What do you mean, no?" "I can't. I'm on vacation in a place with no post office nearby." A lie, there was one 10 minutes from the resort. "Sally, this could cost Rick his promotion." He should have thought of that before he left them behind, or before he let his mother exclude me from the family trip. Ugh, you're so selfish. I learned from the best. I hung up. The phone immediately started ringing again. I turned it off. Lisa walked into the spa with 2 margaritas. Everything okay? Perfect. It is now. That night, as we had dinner by the ocean, I checked my social media. There was a message notification from someone I didn't expect. Jennifer, the wife of Rick's younger brother. Hey Sally. Saw the pictures from Maui. You look happy. Can we talk? I replied. Sure. What's up? I'd rather call. Do you have time tomorrow? Yes. The next morning, while Lisa was still asleep, I went out onto our room's balcony. The ocean was calm. I dialed Jennifer's number. Thanks for answering, she said. Her voice sounded nervous. What do you need? I saw you were left out of the family trip. Yeah. Your mother-in-law decided that daughters-in-law don't count as family. Jennifer laughed, but it wasn't a happy laugh, it was a bitter one. She did the same thing to me last year. I sat up straight. What? Yep. Last year's trip. She told me 3 days before that it would be better if I stayed home, because they were planning to discuss important family matters and my presence would make things awkward. And Mark let her. Mark did exactly what Rick did to you. He shrugged and said his mom was paying. I felt a hot knot form in my chest. It wasn't just me. This was a pattern. Why didn't you tell me anything before? Because I was ashamed and because I thought maybe I had done something wrong. But seeing her do it to you too. Yes, this isn't normal. No, it's not. There are more things you should know about the family, about your mother-in-law. I'm listening. Jennifer took a deep breath. Do you remember Mark's first wife, Karen? Yes. They divorced about 5 years ago, right? 6. And it wasn't because Karen wanted to. It was because your mother-in-law systematically broke her down over 3 years until Karen had a nervous breakdown. I was silent. Your mother-in-law told Mark that Karen was cheating on him. Lies, all lies. But she said them with such conviction that Mark started to doubt. He checked Karen's phone, followed her. Karen eventually couldn't take the paranoia and jealousy anymore, and Mark never realized his mom was lying. Until after the divorce, he found old messages on his mom's phone where she basically confessed to making it all up because Karen wasn't good enough for the family. Oh my God. There's more. Rick and Mark's mom is named Patricia, right? Yes. Did you know she comes from a working-class family and married your father-in-law because he had money? I had no idea. She erases her past, acts like she's always been high society, but your father-in-law's sister, Aunt Linda, told me the truth when she was drunk at Christmas. Patricia was working as a waitress when she met your father-in-law. She got pregnant on purpose to trap him. This was too much information. Why are you telling me all this? Because you need to know who you're dealing with. Patricia won't stop. She's going to try to destroy your marriage just like she destroyed Karen's. She already started by excluding you from the trip. That's just the beginning. And how have you survived? By being invisible? By saying yes to everything, by letting her walk all over me. But I'm tired, Sally. And when I saw you in those Maui pictures so happy and free, I realized there's another way. What's that? Standing up for yourself. Saying no. Setting boundaries. Jennifer, if I do that, the family is going to explode. Let it explode. Maybe that's what it needs. After hanging up with Jennifer, I stayed on the balcony for an hour. Everything was starting to make sense. Patricia's passive-aggressive comments, the way she always found fault in everything I did, how Rick always defended her. It wasn't personal, it was her pattern. Lisa came out onto the balcony with coffee. You look serious. What happened? I told her everything. Jennifer, Karen, the truth about Patricia. So what are you going to do? Lisa asked. I don't know yet. But I'm not going to be Karen. I'm not going to let her destroy me. Good, because the Sally I know doesn't let anyone walk all over her. She was right. But the Sally she knew existed before Rick, before I got married and started walking on eggshells around his family. It was time for that Sally to come back. The rest of the trip was perfect. I went snorkeling, took surf lessons, ate incredible food, and every time I thought of Patricia and Rick in that upstate cabin, I smiled. They were in a cabin with no internet. I was in paradise. The night before I flew back, I turned on my phone for the first time in 4 days. I had 243 unread messages. Most were from Rick. They started angry, then confused, then worried. Sally, pick up the phone. This is ridiculous. Are you okay? I'm worried. Mom says you're being immature. Sally, please, let's talk. Patricia's were all the same. Demands, accusations, insults. There was one from Jennifer. Hope you're enjoying yourself. You deserve every second. And one from a number I didn't recognize. Hi, Sally. This is Karen. Jennifer gave me your number. Can we talk when you get back? There are things you need to know. Karen, Mark's ex-wife. I replied, of course. Call me on Saturday. Lisa and I were picked up by an Uber at the airport. I got home at 3 p.m. on Friday. The house was exactly as I'd left it, clean, empty, quiet. Rick and his family would be arriving tomorrow night. I unpacked my suitcase. All my clothes smelled of sunscreen and plumeria. They smelled like freedom. I set a picture of the ocean as my phone's wallpaper, a reminder. Then I went to the kitchen and made tea. I sat at the table where a week ago, Patricia had told me I wasn't family. My phone rang. It was Karen. Sally. It's me. Jennifer told me what happened. That they excluded you from the trip. Yes. You need to get out of that family before it's too late. I'm married to Rick. I was married to Mark for 8 years. The best years of my life destroyed by that woman. Jennifer told me some things. She didn't tell you everything. Do you have time for coffee tomorrow before they get back? Yes. We met at a coffee shop half an hour from my house. Karen looked good. Better than I expected after hearing about her nervous breakdown. You recovered, I said. It took 3 years of therapy, but yes. She ordered a latte. I ordered tea. Patricia is a sociopath, Karen began without preamble. Not in the exaggerated sense, in the clinical sense. She lacks real empathy. Everything is about control. Everything is about her. How did it start with you? Same as with you. Small exclusions. Comments. That blouse doesn't suit you. Mark deserves someone more educated. When you have kids, I hope they don't inherit your nose. I cringed. Yes, that kind of thing. And Mark would defend her. It's just her way. She doesn't mean it maliciously. Until she started inventing that I was unfaithful. Why would she do that? Because Mark was considering moving to another state for a job. Patricia wasn't going to lose control over her son, so she destroyed me before I could take him away. But you divorced. Yes. And Mark never moved. How convenient. Karen took a sip of her coffee. I'm going to tell you something no one else will, including Jennifer, who is very sweet but too scared to act. You have 2 options. Either you set boundaries so firm that Patricia breaks, or you get out before she breaks you. And if Rick supports me? I thought about how Rick hid behind his phone when Patricia excluded me. How he mumbled about who was paying for the cabin. I don't know. Then you already have your answer. I went home with a lot to think about. Rick would be here in 6 hours. I needed a plan. I heard Rick's car pull into the garage at 9 p.m. I was sitting in the living room drinking tea. I had been practicing what I was going to say for the last 6 hours. The door opened. Rick came in first. Behind him were Patricia, his father George, and Mark with Jennifer, all carrying suitcases and bags. Hello, I said without getting up. Rick dropped his suitcase on the floor. He looked tired. Can we talk alone? Sure. We went to our bedroom. Rick closed the door. Sally, what was all that? What do you mean? Maui. Ignoring my calls? Leaving me without the documents I needed. You left me out of the family trip. I took my own vacation. It's not the same thing. You're right. It's not. Your mom told me I'm not family. I just acted like someone who isn't family would act. Rick ran a hand through his hair. She didn't mean it like that. Yes, she did. She said it very clearly. Daughters-in-law aren't family until they have children. Those were her exact words. She's just very attached to family traditions. And where was your attachment to me when she excluded me? You stayed silent. You didn't even defend me. Sally. No, Rick. For a year, I've been the perfect daughter-in-law. I smile when your mom criticizes my cooking. I say nothing when she rearranges my cabinets. I accept it when she changes plans without consulting me. But excluding me from the family trip and then demanding I come back from my vacation to do you favors is too much. The documents were important. Then you shouldn't have forgotten them. Rick looked at me as if he didn't recognize me. What happened to you? I got tired. Someone knocked on the door. It was Patricia. Rick, I need your help with something. She didn't even look at me. We're talking, Mom. It's urgent. Rick looked at me, expecting me to say it was okay that he could go. If you walk out that door now, I'm sleeping in the guest room, I said. Patricia finally looked at me. How dramatic. It's not drama. It's a boundary. A boundary? Who do you think you are? His wife. A wife doesn't go to Hawaii while her family needs her. I'm not your family. You made that very clear. Patricia narrowed her eyes. Rick, tell your wife to apologize. Rick was standing between us, literally in the middle. I could see the conflict on his face. Mom, give me a minute. I'll finish talking with Sally and come down. You're going to let her talk to me like that? Mom, 1 minute. Patricia stormed out, slamming the door. Rick turned to me looking pained. You made her angry. No, I set a boundary. She got angry because she can't control it. She's not trying to control anything. Rick, I spoke with Jennifer. His expression changed. While I was in Maui, she told me that last year, your mom excluded her from the same trip with the same excuse. That was different. Why? Because Jennifer had things to do that weekend. A lie. She was told she couldn't go because she wasn't family. Rick was silent. I also spoke with Karen. Karen? Mark's ex. Yes. She told me how your mom destroyed their marriage with lies. How she invented that Mark was being cheated on. Karen is crazy. That's why they divorced. No. Karen had a nervous breakdown because your mother tormented her for 3 years, and Mark eventually found proof that it was all a lie. That's not true. Ask Mark. I'm not going to ask him something like that based on gossip. It's not gossip. It's facts. Your mom has a pattern. She destroys the wives she can't control. Rick shook his head. You're exaggerating. Mom can be intense, but she's not evil. Then why didn't you ever defend me when she excluded me? He didn't answer. Exactly. Because deep down, you know that if you confront her, she'll make your life impossible. So it's easier to sacrifice me. I'm not sacrificing anyone. Yes, you are. Every time you stay quiet, you're sacrificing me. Someone else knocked on the door. This time it was George, Rick's father. Sally, can I talk to you for a moment? Rick opened the door. George came in. He looked uncomfortable. I need to apologize to you, George said. Both Rick and I looked at him surprised. For what? I asked. For not stopping Patricia when she excluded you from the trip. I should have told her she was wrong. I didn't because it's easier to agree with her than to argue with her. Rick looked uncomfortable. Dad, you don't need to. Yes, I do, Rick. Sally, Patricia does this every time she feels like she's losing control over our sons. She did it with Karen, she tried it with Jennifer, and now with you. George, it's not appropriate to talk about your wife like that, Rick said. It is appropriate to tell the truth. I've been married to your mother for 35 years. I love her, but I know who she is, and I know what she did to Sally was wrong. Then why didn't you say anything? I asked. Because I'm a coward. George looked at me directly. But I saw the pictures from Maui. You looked happy, happier than I've seen you in the entire year you've been married to Rick. And I realized that if I don't say something now, we're going to lose another good daughter-in-law. Rick was red-faced. Dad, that's enough. No, son. Enough silence has passed. Sally is right to set boundaries, and you need to support her. George left the room. Rick and I stood in silence. I can't believe my dad did that, Rick mumbled. Your dad told the truth. So what do you want me to do, Sally? Yell at my mom? Tell her she's controlling. I want you to defend me. I want you to set boundaries. I want you to treat me like your wife, not like a temporary guest in your family. You are my wife. Then why do I feel like a stranger? Rick didn't answer. He looked down. I'm going to sleep in the guest room, I said. When you're ready to have a real conversation, let me know. I took my pillow and walked out. In the living room, Patricia and Mark were sitting on the couch. Jennifer was in the kitchen. Patricia glared at me. Going to sleep in another room? How childish. It's none of your business where I sleep. Anything that affects my son is my business. Rick is an adult. He can handle his own problems. Obviously not if he married you. The room fell silent. Mark looked uncomfortable. Jennifer stopped washing dishes. Excuse me, what did you say? I asked. You heard me. Rick could have done better. Patricia, George started from the stairs. No, George, someone has to say it. This girl comes in here with her victim act as if we've done something terrible to her. You excluded me from a family trip and then expected me to act like a servant when you needed me. That is terrible. I did you a favor. That trip wasn't for you. You're right. It wasn't. And future ones won't be either. What does that mean? It means I'm not going to any more family events until you treat me with respect. Patricia laughed. And you think Rick is going to accept that? I don't know. But if he has to choose between a wife who sets boundaries and a mother who doesn't respect anyone, we'll see what he chooses. I went up to the guest room and locked the door. I heard raised voices downstairs, Patricia yelling, George responding, Rick trying to calm the situation. I let them yell. I lay down and closed my eyes. For the first time in a year, I slept soundly. I woke up at 7 a.m. Someone was knocking on the guest room door. Sally? It's Jennifer. Can I come in? I opened the door. Jennifer was holding 2 cups of coffee. I thought you might need this. Thanks. We sat on the bed. Jennifer looked nervous. What you did last night was brave. Or stupid. No, it was necessary. Jennifer took a sip of coffee. Patricia left the house at 5 a.m. She went to her own house without saying goodbye to anyone. She's angry, furious. But George stayed. He said it was time for Patricia to learn that her actions have consequences. And Rick hasn't left his room all night. I think he's processing. We went downstairs together. Mark and George were in the kitchen making breakfast. Rick was nowhere in sight. Good morning, George said. Sally, I need to talk to you after breakfast. We ate in awkward silence. Mark stared at his phone. Jennifer pushed eggs around her plate. George read the newspaper. Afterward, George and I went to the living room. Patricia has called me 4 times this morning, he began. She wants me to convince you to apologize to her. I'm not doing that. I know. And I told her I wouldn't ask you to. George sighed. Sally, there's something you need to know about my wife. What? Patricia grew up in a family where money was power. Her father controlled everyone with financial threats. Her mother never said a word. Patricia swore she would never be like her mother. But she became her father. Exactly. She doesn't realize that controlling others isn't strength. It's fear. Fear of what? Of being abandoned, of not being needed. That's why she does everything possible to keep our sons dependent on her. And you've allowed this for 35 years. George rubbed his face. Yes, because it was easier. Because I wanted peace. But that peace has a cost. Karen, possibly Jennifer, and now you. Why are you telling me this? Because if you're going to stay in this family, you need to know that the battle will be long. Patricia is not going to change overnight. Maybe I don't want to stay. And that would be completely understandable. George stood up. But if you do decide to stay, you have my support. And I think you have Rick's too if he manages to find his spine. Rick came downstairs at 10. He looked terrible. Red eyes, messy hair. Can we talk? He asked. We went to the backyard. I didn't sleep, he said. I was up all night thinking about what you said. And you're right. I didn't defend you when Mom excluded you, and I should have. Yes. But I need you to understand something. In my family, you don't contradict Mom. That's how we grew up. Mark and I learned from a young age that it was easier to agree. But you're not children anymore. I know, but it's hard to change 30 years of patterns. Rick, I can't live like this. I can't be invisible every time your mom decides she doesn't like me. You're not invisible. Then what am I? Because from my perspective, I'm something convenient when you need me and disposable when you don't. Rick was quiet. I called my mom an hour ago, he said finally. I told her that what she did was wrong, that she owes you an apology. And what did she say? That she's not going to apologize, that you're the one who should apologize for disrespecting her. I'm not going to. I know. And I told her that. Rick looked at me. I also told her that if she doesn't change her attitude toward you, she's going to see us less. A lot less. You told her that? Yes. And she hung up. Then she called my dad yelling that I'm under your influence, that I'm choosing you over her. And what do you think? I think it shouldn't be a choice. But if it is, I choose you. Something inside me loosened. It wasn't enough, but it was a start. I need you to understand that this doesn't end here, I said. Your mom is going to push, she's going to manipulate, she's going to do everything possible to get you back on her side. I know. And are you going to stand firm? I'm going to try. Trying isn't enough, Rick. Then yes, I will stand firm. That afternoon, Mark asked to speak with me. We went for a walk around the neighborhood. Jennifer told me you spoke with Karen, he said. Yes. Did she tell you about my mom's lies? Yes. Mark kicked a rock. I found the proof 2 years after the divorce. Messages where mom admitted she made it all up. I felt like trash. Did you tell Karen? I tried to contact her, but her therapist said it wasn't good for her mental health to see me, that she needed to close that chapter completely. And your mom? I showed her the messages. She said she did it because Karen wasn't good for me. No remorse, no apology. And you kept talking to her. She's my mom. I can't just cut her out of my life. Why not? Mark looked at me surprised. Because she's family. Family doesn't destroy lives. It's complicated. It's not that simple. You either accept the abuse or you don't accept it. It's not abuse. Mark, your mom ruined your marriage with deliberate lies. That is abuse. He was silent for the rest of the walk. That night, Patricia called the house. Rick answered. He put it on speaker. I want Sally to know something, Patricia said. Her voice was cold. I'm listening, I replied. I've decided you're not welcome in my house until you apologize. Okay. Okay. That's all you have to say. Yes. I don't plan on going to your house anyway. Rick? Are you going to let your wife talk to me like that? Mom, Sally set a boundary. You set another one. You're both within your rights. So you're choosing her side? There are no sides. There's either mutual respect or there's no relationship. Patricia was quiet for a moment. This is what happens when you marry beneath you. Mom. No, Rick. You need to hear this. That woman is not our class. She doesn't understand how families like ours work. That's enough, I said. Rick, hang up the phone. Don't you tell me to hang up the phone. Rick hesitated. Then he pressed the button to end the call. Patricia immediately called back. Rick turned his phone off. Thank you, I said. It's going to get worse before it gets better. I know. George stayed with us that night. He said he needed space from Patricia. Mark and Jennifer went to their house. At 11 p.m. the doorbell rang. It was Patricia. Rick opened the door. I stood on the stairs. I need to talk to you, Patricia said. She didn't look at me. It's late, Mom. I don't care. I'm your mother. You open the door when I knock. Mom, go home. No. Not until we talk. George came down the stairs. Patricia, leave now. You're against me too? I'm not against you. I'm for our sons having healthy marriages. Sally is poisoning this family. Sally set boundaries. You don't respect them. That's the difference. Patricia looked at me finally. There was pure hatred in her eyes. This isn't over. You're right, I replied. Because the next time you cross a boundary, the consequences will be worse. She left without another word. Rick closed the door. Were you serious? He asked. About worse consequences? Completely. Like what? We'll see. I didn't know specifically what I would do, but I knew Patricia wasn't going to stop and neither was I. 2 weeks passed with no contact from Patricia. Rick received daily texts from her, but he didn't reply. George had temporarily moved into a hotel. One afternoon, Patricia called the house. This time she sounded different. Calm. Rick, I want to have a dinner for the whole family to fix things. Rick looked at me. I put it on speaker. What kind of dinner? I asked. One where we can talk like adults, resolve our differences. And you're going to apologize? We're going to talk. That's all I can promise right now. Rick wanted to accept immediately. I was doubtful. I need to think about it, I said. Sally, please. I'm your mother-in-law. Give me a chance. I hung up without responding. Why did you do that? Rick asked. Because it's a trap. You don't know that. Yes, I do. Your mom doesn't change in 2 weeks. I called Jennifer. Patricia wants to have a family dinner. Do you know anything? Mark mentioned something. He said his mom wanted to clear the air. Do you think she's sincere? No. But I think you should go. Why? Because if she's going to try something, it's better that it's in front of everyone, not in private where she can manipulate the story. She was right. I'll go. But on my terms. Which are? You'll see. I called Karen. I need a favor. What kind of favor? Patricia is organizing a dinner. She wants to make peace, but I know she's going to try to humiliate me in front of the family. Probably. That's her usual method. I want you to come with me. Silence. Karen. I'm not asking you to cause trouble. I just want you to be there as a witness. And if Patricia starts with her lies about you, I want you to have the chance to defend yourself. I don't know if I can be in the same room as her. I understand. But think about this. She destroyed your life and never faced any consequences. This could be your chance. Mark will be there? Yes. Okay, then I'll go. I told Rick my plan that night. You want to bring Karen to my mom's dinner? Yes. Sally, that's going to cause a disaster. Your mom already caused the disaster. I'm just going to make sure everyone sees it. This is revenge. No. It's consequences. Rick didn't agree, but he didn't stop me. The day of the dinner arrived. Patricia had reserved a private room at a fancy restaurant. The entire extended family would be there. Aunts, uncles, cousins. I wore a simple black dress, nothing flashy. I wanted Patricia to think I was coming like a lamb to the slaughter. Karen picked me up at 6. Jennifer got in with us. Are you sure about this? Jennifer asked, completely nervous. We arrived at the restaurant. Rick was already there with Mark and George. When Mark saw Karen, he turned pale. What is she doing here? He whispered. I invited her, I said. Sally, this is not a good idea. You don't have to stay if you don't want to. But Karen deserves to be here. Patricia was at the entrance of the room, greeting family. When she saw us arrive, her smile froze. What is she doing here? She asked, pointing at Karen. She's my guest, I replied. I don't want her here. Then there's no dinner. Either Karen comes or I leave. The family was starting to notice the tension. Aunt Linda came over. What's going on? Your daughter-in-law brought Mark's ex-wife to a family dinner, Patricia said. Because this dinner is for solving family problems, I said loudly. And Karen was a victim of one of the biggest problems. People started to murmur. Patricia turned red. This is inappropriate. What was inappropriate was destroying her marriage with lies. I don't know what you're talking about. Mark stepped forward. I know what she's talking about. Everyone looked at him. Mom made up that Karen was cheating on me. Complete lies. She admitted it in messages I found 2 years after the divorce. Aunt Linda put a hand to her mouth. Patricia. Mark is confused. I'm not. I have the messages. I saved them. Why would you do something like that? A cousin asked. Patricia didn't answer, she just stared at me with pure hatred. You know what else she did? I continued. She excluded Jennifer from the family trip last year with the same excuse she used on me, that daughters-in-law aren't family. Jennifer nodded. The family looked at her. And this year she excluded me 3 hours before we left. She said daughters-in-law don't count as family until they have children. That's not true, Patricia started. It is. And Rick was there when you said it. Everyone looked at Rick. He looked down and nodded. George approached his wife. Patricia, stop. It's time to tell the truth. What truth? These women are lying. They're not lying. George looked at the family. My wife has control issues. I know it. I've allowed it for 35 years. But no more. George, don't do this. You destroyed Mark's marriage. You almost destroyed Rick's. And you haven't shown a single ounce of remorse. Aunt Linda sat down. I can't believe this. Believe it, Karen said. Her voice was trembling but firm. I spent 3 years of my life being tormented by this woman. She invented stories. She convinced Mark I was unfaithful. She followed me. She went through my trash. Until I couldn't take it anymore and had a nervous breakdown. You're being dramatic, Patricia said. And you're cruel. The silence in the room was absolute. No one knew what to say. I came to this dinner believing you were going to apologize, I said. But you came to humiliate me in front of the family, to make everyone believe that I am the problem. You are the problem. No, you are. And now everyone knows it. Patricia looked around at the family. No one defended her, not even the aunts who usually supported her in everything. You don't understand, she said finally. I do what I do for my sons. No, Rick said. You do it for yourself. To maintain control. I'm protecting you. I don't need protection. I need you to respect my wife. Patricia grabbed her purse. I'm not going to stay here and be attacked. No one is attacking you, George said. They are confronting you with the truth. The truth is that you are all blind. That woman, she pointed at me, is going to destroy this family. You already did, I said. I'm just showing everyone what was already there. Patricia walked toward the exit. She stopped next to me. You're going to regret this. I don't think so. She left, slamming the door. Some family members followed her, but most stayed. Aunt Linda approached me. Sally, we didn't know. Now you know. What's going to happen now? That depends on you. You can believe I made all this up, or you can accept that Patricia has been out of control for years. Mark hugged Karen. She was crying on his shoulder. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. It's too late for apologies, Karen said, but she didn't push him away. Jennifer hugged me. Thank you. For what? For doing what I didn't have the courage to do. Rick came over. Are you okay? Yes. That was intense. It had to be done. George arranged for food to be ordered. The dinner turned into something strange. Half funeral, half liberation. The family spoke in low voices. Some admitted they had seen signs but never said anything. Others were in shock. I just felt relief. I had exposed Patricia. Not with shouting or drama, just with truths. Karen sat next to me. How did you know it would work? I didn't. But I knew if I didn't do something, Patricia would keep destroying lives. You're braver than I am. No, I'm just angrier. Rick took my hand under the table. I squeezed it. This wasn't over. Patricia wouldn't give up so easily. But at least now the family knew the truth. And that changed everything. 3 days after the dinner, Patricia hadn't contacted anyone. Rick checked his phone constantly. Do you think she's okay? He asked. She's fine. She's just angry. Sally, you humiliated her in front of the whole family. No, she humiliated herself. I just told the truth. Rick put his phone on the table. The family is divided. Half of them think you did the right thing. The other half thinks you went too far. And what do you think? He didn't answer immediately. I think my mom needed to be confronted. But I don't know if doing it in front of everyone was the best way. It was the only way. If I did it in private, she would have denied it later. Now the family is broken. It was already broken, Rick. It's just that now everyone can see it. George called that afternoon. Patricia wants to talk to you. With me specifically? Yes. She says only with you. It's a trap. Probably. But she said if you don't talk to her, she's going to do something drastic. Like what? I don't know. But I know her. When she's this desperate, she's capable of anything. I agreed to meet her at a neutral coffee shop. Rick wanted to come, but I told him no. This is between her and me. Patricia arrived 10 minutes late. She looked terrible. No makeup, unkempt hair. Thanks for coming, she said, sitting down. What do you want? I want you to know that you are destroying my family. Your family was already destroyed. It wasn't. We had normal problems. But you magnified them. Lying about infidelity is a normal problem? Patricia pressed her lips together. You don't understand the context. Then explain it to me. She took a breath. Karen wasn't good for Mark. I saw it. The way she treated him like he wasn't enough. Then you should have talked to Mark about it. Not invent lies. Mark wouldn't have listened to me. He was blinded by her. And you think that justifies destroying their marriage? I was protecting my son. You weren't protecting him. You were controlling him. Patricia slammed the table. You know nothing about being a mother. You're right, I don't. But I know what it's like to be treated like you're not enough, like you don't matter. And that's what you do to all the women who marry your sons. Not all of them. Only the ones who aren't suitable. Who decides that? You. I'm their mother. I know what's best for them. They're adults, Patricia. They can decide for themselves. She fell silent. Then she pulled a piece of paper from her purse. I read this in therapy. You're in therapy? George forced me. He said it was either that or divorce. She pushed the paper toward me. At least read it. It was a letter her therapist had made her write to me. I read it. It was short. Sally, I acknowledge that my actions hurt you. I acknowledge that I excluded you unfairly. I acknowledge that I have not treated you with the respect you deserve as my son's wife. I am working to understand why I do these things. I hope that one day you can forgive me. I put the paper on the table. Your therapist made you write this. Yes. Then it means nothing. It means I'm trying. It means George threatened you with divorce, and now you're doing the bare minimum to keep him. Patricia leaned back in her chair. What do you want from me then? Nothing. I don't want forced apologies. I don't want letters written by therapists. If you're going to change, it has to be because you genuinely want to, not because you've been threatened. And in the meantime, we keep our distance. You live your life, I live mine. And Rick decides for himself. I'm not going to force him to choose between us. But you will eventually. If you force me to, yes. Patricia stared at me for a long time. You're tougher than I thought. I learned I had to be. She stood up. This isn't over. I know. She left without saying goodbye. I didn't expect her to. That night, Rick and I had a long conversation. I told him everything about the meeting with Patricia. Do you think she can change? He asked. I don't know. But I'm not going to wait around for her while she figures it out. What does that mean? It means I'm going to live my life. If your mom gets better, great. If not, that's fine too. Sally, she's my mom. And you're my husband. Rick, I need you to understand something. I'm not going to spend the next 30 years fighting with your mom. Either she respects our marriage, or there is no relationship. Are you asking me to choose? No. I'm telling you what my boundaries are. You decide what to do with that information. Rick was silent. I need time to think, he said finally. Okay. He went to sleep in the guest room that night. I didn't try to stop him. The next morning Mark called. Can I come over? He arrived with Jennifer. They both looked serious. We talked to Karen yesterday, Mark said. For hours. She told me everything. Things I didn't remember or hadn't noticed. Like what? Like Mom following her to the grocery store, going through her trash, calling her friends to ask about her. Karen was living under constant surveillance. Jennifer added, and so was I. Last year, after they excluded me from the trip, Patricia started making comments about my weight, my clothes, about how I wasn't presentable enough for the family. Why didn't you say anything? Because Mark didn't believe me when I complained. He said I was being sensitive. Mark looked down. You were right. About everything. So what now? I asked. Now we set boundaries. Like you, Jennifer said. Mark and I talked. Mom doesn't come to our house without a prior invitation. We don't make plans just because she demands it. And if she crosses a line again, we cut contact. Does she know? We told her yesterday. How did she take it? Cried. Yelled. Said we were abandoning her. The usual. But we stood firm. Yeah, Mark said. For the first time in my life, I told my mom no, and I didn't back down. Jennifer took his hand. We're in this together. After they left, I sat on the patio. Rick came out an hour later. I talked to Mark, he said. He told me they set boundaries too. Yes. And with my dad. He says Mom is in therapy 3 times a week now. That's good. Rick sat next to me. I was thinking all night. About us, about Mom, about everything. And you're right. I've let Mom control my life for 30 years, and I almost lost my marriage because of it. Almost. I choose you, Sally. Not because you're forcing me to, but because it's the right thing to do. Are you sure? Completely. I love my mom, but you're my wife. You're my priority. And if my mom doesn't change, then we'll have a limited relationship with her. But I am not going to sacrifice our marriage. I hugged him. It wasn't perfect. Patricia was still out there, probably planning her next move. But Rick had finally chosen. And that was enough for now. That afternoon George called. Patricia wants to try a family dinner again. But this time with the therapist present. Are you serious? Yes. She says she wants to do things right this time. And you believe her? I want to believe her. But I know it will take time. When would it be? In 2 weeks. Would you come? I looked at Rick. He nodded. Yes. But with conditions. Which are? If Patricia starts with her games, we leave. No drama. We just get up and walk out. Fair enough. 2 weeks. Enough time to see if Patricia was really changing, or if she was just putting on an act. The second family dinner was at George and Patricia's house. The therapist, Dr. Ramirez, arrived 30 minutes before everyone else. I want to set some ground rules, he said. If anyone shouts, the session ends. If anyone insults, it ends. This is about honest communication, not winning a fight. Patricia was sitting on the couch looking nervous. Rick and I sat far away from her. Mark and Jennifer arrived later. Karen didn't come. She said she wasn't ready. Let's start with Patricia, Dr. Ramirez said. Why did you organize this dinner? Because I want to get my family back. What did you lose exactly? Patricia looked at me. The trust of my sons. The respect of my daughters-in-law. And why do you think you lost it? Because I was controlling. Manipulative. Because I hurt people who didn't deserve to be hurt. The words came out with difficulty. Like who? Like Karen. Like Jennifer. Like Sally. Dr. Ramirez nodded. Sally, what do you need to hear from Patricia? I need to hear why she did it. The real reason, no excuses. Patricia took a deep breath. My mother never had a voice in my family. My father controlled everything, the money, the decisions, our lives. She just obeyed. When I married George, I swore I would never be like her. But you became your father, I said. Yes. I didn't see it until Dr. Ramirez pointed it out. I control because I'm afraid. Afraid of not being needed. Afraid my sons won't need me. So you make them dependent on you, Jennifer said. Yes. And you destroy the women who might take them away from you, Mark added. Yes. Silence filled the room. Sally, Patricia continued, her voice trembling. When you married Rick, I saw how happy he was. Happier than I'd seen him in years. And I got scared. I thought if he loved you that much, he would stop needing me. So you excluded me from the trip. Yes. I thought if I made you feel like you didn't belong, Rick would see that I was right, that you weren't suitable. But all I managed to do was show him who I really am. Patricia nodded, tears streaming down her face. I know I can't undo what I did. But I want you to know that I regret every second of it. Do you regret it because you got caught? Or because you truly understand the damage you caused? Both. First, I just regretted that everyone knew. But in therapy, Dr. Ramirez had me write letters to Karen, letters I'll never send describing every single thing I did to her. When I read them out loud, I realized how monstrous I was. And what are you going to do differently now? Rick asked. I'm going to respect your marriages. I'm going to stop giving unsolicited opinions. And I'm going to work on my need for control. Those are words, Mark said. We need to see actions. I know. That's why I'm proposing something. She pulled a paper from her pocket. I wrote this with Dr. Ramirez. It's a family contract. She read it aloud. I, Patricia Enriquez de Morales, agree to the following terms. I will not visit my sons' homes without a prior invitation. I will not give opinions on the lives of my daughters-in-law unless asked. I will not organize family events without consulting first. If I break these rules, I accept 1 month of no contact as a consequence. You agree to that? Jennifer asked, surprised. Yes, because if I don't change, I'm going to lose everyone. I've already lost George temporarily. I don't want to lose my sons too. George spoke for the first time. Patricia moved into an apartment a week ago. We're separated. What? Rick looked shocked. I told her I needed to see real changes before I would come back. This is my boundary. Patricia wiped her tears. That's why I'm doing this. Not just for you but for me. Dr. Ramirez intervened. This is a good start. But I want everyone to understand something. Change takes time. Patricia will make mistakes. The question is, are you willing to give her chances, within clear boundaries? I looked at Rick. He squeezed my hand. I'm willing, I said. But if she breaks the contract, I'm leaving and not coming back. Fair enough, Patricia said. Mark and Jennifer agreed too. George signed the contract as a witness. There's one more thing, I said. I want you to write a letter to Karen. A real apology. And send it to her. Will she want it? I don't know. But she deserves it. Patricia nodded. I'll do it. The dinner afterward was strange. It wasn't comfortable, but it wasn't hostile either. It was a beginning. 2 months later, Patricia was respecting the contract. She didn't show up unannounced. She didn't offer unasked for opinions. When she started to cross a line, she would stop herself. Rick and I renewed our vows. It was a small ceremony. Patricia was invited, but she sat in the back row. She didn't say anything about my dress. She didn't try to organize anything. She just came, smiled, and left when it was over. She's changing, Rick said that night. Yes, but I'm still watching. You'll always be watching. Until she proves the change is permanent. Yes. George and Patricia reconciled after 4 months, but they lived differently now. Patricia had her own life. She went to therapy, took painting classes. One afternoon, Patricia invited me for coffee. Just the two of us. Are you sure? Rick asked. Yes, but I'm keeping my phone with location tracking on. We met at the same coffee shop as before. Patricia was on time. Thanks for coming, she said. What do you need? Nothing. I just wanted to talk. Really talk. We ordered coffee. Patricia fiddled with her cup. I sent the letter to Karen a month ago. Did she reply? Yes. She said she appreciated the apology, but she's not ready to see me. Maybe she never will be. And how do you feel about that? Sad. But I understand. I destroyed years of her life. A letter doesn't fix that. No. Patricia looked at me. You have the right never to forgive me either. I know. But I hope one day you can. Not so we can be friends, just so we can be in the same room without tension. I'm working on it. That's more than I deserve. We drank our coffee in silence for a moment. Sally, there's something I want you to know. When you went to Maui, I was so angry I wanted to destroy you. I had plans. I was going to tell Rick you were unfaithful. I was going to fabricate evidence. My stomach turned. Why are you telling me this? Because you need to know how sick I was. And you need to know that I am not that person anymore. How do I know that's true? You don't. You have to decide whether you believe me or not. I looked at her. Really looked at her. I saw a 60-year-old woman who had spent her life controlling others because she was terrified of being abandoned. She was pathetic, but she was also human. I believe you, I said finally. But I'm still watching. I hope you always are. Because the day you let your guard down, that will be the day I know you truly trust me. A year after the Maui trip, Rick and I went back to Hawaii, this time in celebration. A year since everything changed, Rick said on the beach. Do you regret anything? Only not defending you sooner. But you did when it mattered. Do you think Mom has really changed? Yes. But it's still a constant work in progress. Rick kissed me. Thank you for not giving up on us. Thank you for finally choosing me. That night, as we watched the sunset from our balcony, my phone rang. It was Patricia. Sally. Just calling to say I hope you're enjoying the trip. We are. Good. I'll let you go. Take care. She hung up without asking for anything, without demanding anything, just wishing us well. Rick looked at me surprised. That was my mom. Yes. She really has changed. Yes. 'Cause she had no choice. It was either change or lose everything. And did you change? Yes. I learned that setting boundaries isn't cruel. It's wise. The ocean shimmered under the sun, exactly as it had a year ago. But everything was different. Now I was different. Stronger, more confident, and finally respected. Not because I begged for it, but because I demanded it.